One of the most popular hip-hop blogs in the United States is actually run by a blogger in India. Now the creator of Hip Hop and More, Navjot Singh, wants to introduce the whole world to his country's rising talent. Today, he gives us a tour of rap music in India. I'm Emil Niazi, sitting in for Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This is Commotion. So all year on the show, we've been celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. And not just from the usual spots in the U.S., we have heard music from Quebec and the U.K., and today we are going to India, starting with this.
सबसे अलग सबसे असली डिफरेंट कैलिबर हमसे मस्ती सीधा पप्पी तेरे आंसू पर हम गेम रखते मुट्ठी में हाँ जादूगर जादूगर आए बाजीगर बाजीगर हम मैं बाजीगर सबसे अलग सबसे असली डिफरेंट कैलिबर हमसे मस्ती सीधा पप्पी तेरे आंसू पर
Hard not to dance to that one. That'll really get you going on a Thursday. That's a bit of the song called Bazigar, one of the many songs that have made Divine one of the biggest acts in India's rap world. Now, as I mentioned, 2023 marks the official 50th birthday of hip-hop. And here on Commotion, we have been celebrating it and looking at hip-hop's history here in Canada, but also in other places across the world. Today, we're going to focus our attention on India. Navjot Singh is a longtime hip-hop blogger and music exec. He was born, raised, and is currently working in that country, meanwhile running one of the biggest blogs in North America. I started by asking Navjot when the genre first caught his attention. Here's what he had to say.
It's funny because I did not really get into hip-hop locally. It was first the traditional popular American acts who I got into first.
Do you remember the first song that really made you feel like, okay, this is something, this is making me feel something?
Several actually, but I think the whole shady aftermath G-Unit era with 50 and Eminem and Dr. Dre, that was like a really, really big moment because I was just exiting high school and those are your years when you're really getting into, music and establishing and a taste within yourself and really figuring out what you like and what you don't like. So that was really good. Like, I think that whole era, especially with 50, and I know that a lot of South Asians feel that way because that was really the defining moment of hip-hop culture being popular across the world, not just in India, but even like in other parts of the world.
50 Cent, our Desi brother. As you mentioned, we're going to take a journey through rap music in India, starting with this.
मैं 5-star होटल पहली बार गया मैंने देखा पानी से भरा स्विमिंग पूल आया मैनेजर बोला बैठिए प्लीज सर आपकी सेवा में मैं हाजिर हूँ कुछ फरमाइए बोलिए क्या आपको चाहिए ठंडा ठंडा पानी.
Wow. I've actually never heard that song before. I'm going to use my very basic Hindi Urdu to translate the title. I know it means cold, cold water, and it's obviously giving major Vanilla Ice vibes in the best way. The year is 1992. Who are we listening to? What is the song called? And what is the significance to India's rap history?
You're right on. That's Thanda Thanda Pani. Cold, cold water. That's Papa Sehgal, obviously inspired by Vanilla Ice. I draw a lot of parallel with something what MC Hammer used to do, back in the day, like very, very dance-friendly music, but so it may not be hip-hop, but it's rap, so there's a little bit of difference because the sound is not really hip-hop, but he's rapping on it. So the vocal style is rap. So that's really the start of rap music in India, and he's a pioneer in that. Of course, it's documented in history, and later on he put out several hits and even contributed to Bollywood soundtracks with his raps, which was absolutely unheard of before that.
And he managed to sell 5 million cassettes off of that, Tanda Tanda Pani, is that right?
Absolutely. It was one of the biggest selling albums of that time period, of the year or time period, and competing against Bollywood soundtracks. And he's a pioneer.
It's very catchy, actually. I'm probably going to be singing that song to myself for a while. So that's 1992, but it's still going to be another decade before India's rap scene really takes off. Do you remember the spark that kind of allowed that to finally happen?
In between, I think that was the time when TV was really growing. Internet was coming into India at that time, and at least people living in urban areas were starting to have access, to internet. And that's how, one of the movements was then taking place as social media was growing. There was a big platform called Orkut that was very, very big in India and Brazil, and a lot of these hip hop fans who also, who felt like they could be artists themselves because they loved hip hop so much and they were listening to all of this North American hip hop. They felt like they could be artists themselves, but a lot of them were first starting off rapping in English because they thought that's the only way to rap. They didn't really understand how they could actually rap in Hindi or Punjabi. But it was Bohemia, the pioneer of Punjabi rap, but actually like a traditional rap artist who, brought in that sound, and then, the rest is history, really.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Bohemia, because I was just going to ask, my next question was going to be about rappers in other countries helping to push India's rap scene, hip-hop scene. So let's talk about Pakistani-American rapper Bohemia and his role in rap music's rise in India.
Yes, absolutely. Like when Bohemia was starting to create some buzz back in California, it was such an interesting case because he was a Pakistani rapper rapping in Punjabi over very, very traditional hip-hop sound, influenced by both West Coast and East Coast music. And, when he was creating a buzz in California, and then that was like the start of the internet era in India, that sound transported to India. And that was so impactful because I remember listening to Bohemia for the first time, and I was in college, and I heard Bohemia for the first time. I think I downloaded a couple of songs through LimeWire back in the day, and I heard a couple of songs and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, who is that? Like, what kind of a sound is that? Like, this is like really the hip hop that I listen to from North American artists, but he's really rapping in Punjabi. Like, I've never heard anything like this. So he gave, his popularity gave belief and strength to a lot of the artists who were trying to do hip hop, but in English language. It made them believe like, oh, we could actually have some kind of success and some kind of listenership if we rap in our own language, in Hindi or Punjabi or Urdu or Malayali, whatever it is. But if we do it in our own language, we could still taste some kind of success. So his movement is, a very, very crucial part of India's hip hop history.
It's the Rock in the building. Khalid, Ramel, Terrell in the house. Yes. Live from United States, Brooklyn, New York, it's your boy. Young. The nephews is in the house. As soon as the beat drop, we got the streets locked overseas. A Punjabi MC in the rock.
That's a bit of UK born and raised Punjabi MC featuring Jay-Z. It's a remix of Punjabi MC's song Beware of the Boys. I'm Emil Niazi sitting in for Elamin Abdelmahmoud. Today on the podcast, we're taking a very brief look at the rise of rap in India with music exec and longtime hip-hop blogger Navjot Singh. Okay, as a brown kid who grew up listening to a lot of hip hop, to see someone like him blow up, it felt like a huge deal. It was just like the way that you described hearing someone rap in, Hindi or Urdu for the first time. That's what it felt like for me to see and hear Punjabi MC. How big of a deal was this record?
Big deal. As he says, like as soon as the beat dropped, this was like such a huge moment in Indian music community in the Indian music scene and the South Asian music scene, because this song was so big, not just in India or the UK or the US. This was such a big song worldwide, and somebody like Jay-Z, and Jay-Z heard this song for the first time in Switzerland. I think in a club somewhere, definitely in Switzerland, but I think in a club somewhere where the DJ was spinning the song, and he was like, "What is that?" Because just the sound, the Night Rider, sample and the tumbi on it is just such an impactful song. So this was a big moment for South Asian culture, because it really opened the door for a lot of them that came afterwards, because it put the Punjabi Bhangra music, the sound on the map, and then a lot of people got very intrigued with the sound, and then obviously started to experiment in their own music back in the States. Timbaland and Dr. Dre and all these guys. This really helped usher in a big movement, and it's still considered such a staple moment, in culture. Like everybody, I'm in regular meetings where they all reference the song. They're like, "How can we have another song as big as Mundiya to Bach Gaye?" It's that kind of a staple moment. So the more I say, the less. The song just shut everything down.
Yeah, the song says it all. It was such a moment. And how could you hear that Bhangra beat and not get excited? So in 2008, you start the blog Hip Hop and More, which continues to be a popular site for the latest hip hop news and music coming out of North America. And I think it probably blows people's minds when they find out you are breaking this news from the US about popular rappers from India. How hard or easy was it to break into the North American rap industry from your home?
It was not easy. Again, yeah, I mean, people are so surprised still. The start, was very, very impromptu. I was not really planning on this. It was a very, 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 very humble beginning. Long story short, it all really worked out for me. The site did really well. It blew up and became, one of the most visited hip hop sites in the world. And I think I was the only one in that bracket who was not residing in North America.
So fast forward to the present, you're a music exec at the indie label Mass Appeal, co-founded by legendary U.S. rap artist Nas. You work specifically for Mass Appeal India as their head of A&R. So when you're looking at that landscape of today, India's rap music industry, for you, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for those artists and for this industry today?
Good question. I think overall, the Indian hip hop scene is in a good place, I would say. But there's a big gap between the top level rappers and the rappers who are coming up in the game right now. Mm-hmm. So I think that is one hurdle. I think we need to, figure out a way how we can make, get that gap closer and make more up and coming artists into stars so that they can have a sustainable career. The second hurdle, I think, would be, I feel like now that I'm so fully into this role, I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of sense of songwriting in the space. Because a lot of people feel like they can just rap, but at the end of the day, you have to make a good song. And I feel the same way when I deal with the American industry as well. Currently, I think even there, I feel like I think I feel like it's the same problem that they are having as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a universal issue. Well, let's keep it moving with a bit more music. That's a bit of Meri Gali Mein by Divine, released in 2019. Divine's been one of the biggest faces of what's known as gully rap. So big, in fact, that the movie Gully Boy was partially inspired by Divine's life and music. What makes Divine and the gully rap genre different from, say, what's been coming out already in the past from India?
Yeah, this was a big cultural moment and movement at the same time. The song, Divine and Nazi, this song being a hit among the masses meant that this kind of rap style, very, very traditional rapping in Hindi, over a very fusion kind of a beat could do well. That was a sign that big things can happen in this genre in the country. And this was obviously quite different from the Bohemia style of rapping. Not very different, I would say, from the style of rapping, but content-wise quite different from, what other rappers like, Yohani Singh and Bacha were doing. Again, nothing good or bad, but it was just very different because this was really the music of the streets. Like they were like really in the streets and to draw parallels with, the US rap music, like, how all of these, all of the iconic rappers who came up from the streets like Nas and Jay-Z and Tupac and Biggie and all these guys. But Divine and Nazi, when they came up with this song, they were trying out something different. They were trying out gully rap, like street rap, really not rapping about women or jewelry or, any of that or clubs or being like popping in the clubs. It was very, very street, very, very raw. And a song like this doing well, it really surprised a lot of people in South Asia. But, it was a big moment and gave birth to a whole new movement and encouraged so many other rappers who felt like they could do the same and have the same kind of success with their careers.
So let's talk about what you're excited about as you sort of look ahead to, rap's future in India. What is making you feel the way you felt when you very first heard the music that sort of moved you to get involved in this world?
I am I'm very excited about the growth of the genre in India and South Asia. I think I'm very excited about the several subgenres within hip hop, growing, because now what I'm seeing is that there's a pattern where there's a lot of different kind of hip hop within the main genre growing. You have like some bit of conscious kind of style, you have alternative style, you have like, commercial where you club themed music, you have music which represents the streets. You have a lot of rappers who are trying out, a lot of melodic stuff, almost trying to be singers, a rapper singer combination. So I think the several subgenres within hip hop is very exciting right now. Also, a lot of different languages. There's regions around the country, apart from just Hindi and Punjabi. They are growing at a very rapid pace right now. The South is growing very, very quick. In fact, just at Masterpiece India, we've done like 3 deals recently with 3 Malayali rappers, from the South. So because they've been they've been so good at generating high amount of streams and cultivating a very solid fan base. So I'm very, very excited about the different languages, away from just the typical Hindi and Punjabi languages that those are coming up. So, but yeah, that really helps the whole economy grow. The whole music economy grow, and more artists can have a sustainable career. It's a very good time with the reach that streaming has. It's a very good time for people to experiment, and it gives them belief that they can do it too, and they don't have to, even if they're if Hindi is not their first language or Punjabi is not their first language, they can do it in their own native language and still make a mark.
So we want to close from a song from one new artist that you think we should be checking for. What is your pick and why?
I'm very excited about this new. I think he's 18 or 19. A rapper named Jaskaran from Punjab. He's a Punjabi rapper, and his style of music, the way he delivers his vocals, is very, very refreshing. I have not heard anything like this in a long time, so I think he would be the one that I would recommend. There's a song of his named Siyasa, so you can look that up on your favorite streaming platform and check him out. A very exciting act that I look forward to seeing, like how he develops and how he grows from here.
I'll check it out, and I can promise you that I will be listening to Punjabi MC on my drive back home tonight. So thank you so much for taking us through this incredible world and for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਬੇੜਾ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਚ ਤੇਰਾ ਕਦੇ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਨ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਨੇ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਕਰ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਫੈਸ਼ਨ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੀ ਕਿ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਜੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਗਈ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਯਾਦ ਚ ਤੜਪਦੀ ਰਹੀ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰਾ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਨ ਮੇਰੇ.
That was Jaskaran with a song called Siyasa. Before that, you heard my chat with Navjot Singh about India's rap history. Navjot is a music exec and the founder of the website Hip Hop and More. He spoke to me from Chandigarh, India. If you liked what you heard on the podcast today, I want to tell you about a show we did last week. We looked at Indo-Canadian rappers like A.P. Dillon and Shub and how both of those artists are navigating politics and their music. And that's it for Commotion today. Remember, you can listen to us anytime, wherever you get your podcasts. And I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow. I'm Emil Niazi, sitting in for Elamin Abdelmahmoud.